There are maybe 5,000 people here. This is crazy. Let's get it. So I did something I've never done before at a 5K. I actually ran. And my time, well, only 1 minute faster than when I walked the whole thing, but that doesn't really tell the full story. So I'm gonna walk you through what happened at this race, the good and the bad. This whole week was really just a picture of how everything in weight loss is connected. Sleeping well, training, dieting, all of it. I'll show you what I mean. So a few weeks ago, I started the None to Run training plan. It's like a couch to 5K program, basically. I talk about all that in this video up here. And we'll get to my progress on that in a little bit. But for the race, I set up custom run and walk intervals on my Apple Watch. So I walked for 3.5 minutes and ran for 30 seconds. I thought that would go pretty well based on how my training was going. What actually happened is I ended up running for like 1 to 1.5 minutes at the very start of the race, way more than I planned. Like I said, I used my Apple Watch to track my intervals and it wouldn't connect to my phone. My roommate said the same thing happened to him, so I guess there was just too much Bluetooth interference because there were like, again, 5,000 people there. And looking back, that really backfired. I was going so hard in the beginning, walking really fast, running more than I should have, and I wore myself out pretty quick, to be honest. So somewhere in the middle of the race, around the 1.5 mile mark, I had to make a decision on how I wanted to continue. So I skipped, I want to say 3 or 4 of the running intervals, not all back to back, just intermittently, because I had such a long way to go. And I didn't want to completely gas myself, and I really wanted to finish strong. But at one point near the end, I looked down at my watch and it said my heart rate was 199 beats per minute, which is definitely too high. The max recommended heart rate for someone that's 30 years old is 190. I'm not quite 30 years old yet, but you know. All that being said, actually running during one of these things was an amazing feeling. Back last year when I started losing weight, even walking 1/2 mile or so left my heart pounding and left me out of breath. I've really come a long way, even if it doesn't always feel like I have. Now, here's the thing. If you're wondering why I only improved by 1 minute on my time after I added running, I'll make that make sense now. So my None to Run plan, I actually just finished the first section, even though I started like 2 weeks ago. Now that section's supposed to only be 1 week, but last week was pretty rough for me, like I talked about in my video last week. So I didn't get to train too much. Basically, it took me 2 weeks to do 1 week of the plan. And this plan that I'm doing is already way harder than the Run Ready one that I was doing before that's for complete beginners. So in week 1 of this plan, you alternate between 2 minutes of walking and 30 seconds of running for about 20 minutes, which ends up being about 1.5 miles for the pace that I go. In week 2, which I'm about to start, you do 2 minutes of walking and a whole minute of running, and you alternate that again for about 20 minutes. So even the week 1 schedule pretty much starts to wear me out about after half an hour. So going into the 5K, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to sustain that pace for the whole way. Plus, when I'm doing those running intervals, my walking pace is actually quite a bit slower than when I'm just walking the 5Ks where I'm giving it my all, because the running really tuckers me out, to be honest, and I have to get my heart rate down and stuff. So really, I'm not surprised by this result. I haven't been training seriously for that long, and like I just said, I have some gaps in my consistency, right? All right, let's talk about the rest of my weight loss stuff that happened this week. So I weighed in at 394 pounds this morning. Now, if you watched last week's video, you'll know that I had a really hard time with binge eating, and I struggle with that all the time, but it comes and goes, really. But this week was much better, and I got back on track. But this wasn't as much of a bounce back as I was hoping for, weight-wise. So usually when I have a bad spike and then get back to my good habits, the weight comes down really quickly. And this time, that doesn't appear to be happening as much. Something I've talked about a lot on this channel, but have really been struggling with, is my sleep schedule. I always knew that sleep was important for weight loss, but doing this channel and talking about it all the time has made me realize that I'm just like really bad at it. I stay up super late all the time, and because of my job, I'm usually getting in between 6 and 7 in the mornings. So if I stay up late, I'm easily only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep every night, and that's just not enough. I can look back at my old videos and see patterns forming, and when I look back at periods where I'm not getting enough sleep, my weight loss tanks. I just stop losing weight. But the main thing that I've noticed is that it's not even just the metabolic stuff. When I have low sleep, it's harder to be consistent with my diet, physical activity. It affects everything. So for my weight loss this week, I really think the lack of sleep is part of what's affecting things. Everything's connected. Sleep, training, dealing with binge eating, dieting, all of it. It all works together. Next week, I'm really gonna focus in on honing that sleep consistency, and we'll see if it makes the difference that I think it will. If you wanna see how that goes, make sure that you're subscribed, because I post every Monday with weigh-ins like this and everything else that we're talking about. And if this video has helped you, or you're dealing with the same struggles, hit the like button, or drop a comment. Let me know what works best for you, because honestly, I need all the tips I can get. So looking back at all of this, I'm actually not disappointed. Yeah, I only ran 1 minute faster, but I actually ran for the first time, which was huge for me. The 350-pound goal by the end of the year, well, that's gonna be really difficult now, but we're still gonna push for it. I do think that it's possible. I just really have to lock in. And now that I'm doing this plan consistently, or at least trying to be more consistent, I have high hopes for the next 5K. I'm not 100% sure when that's gonna be yet. I'm not currently signed up for another one, but maybe around Thanksgiving. If you're in a similar spot to me where progress feels slow, showing up imperfectly is still showing up, and that counts. And eventually, it'll all come together. I'll see you guys next Monday. Peace.